Hello, good morning, my friends. We're back with the reading of the Spirit's book. We are at chapter 4 now, and as a title, it has the vital principle. And because of the title, the author made a note. And on the note, it says the vital principle in his comment on subquestion 67. Kardec defined this term as the motive force of organic bodies. So, for the topics of this chapter, we have organic and inorganic beings, life and death, intelligence and instinct. Now, we continue. Organic and inorganic beings. And the author, Kardec, he makes a note on this. Organic beings are those possessing an inner source of activity that gives them life. They are born, they grow, reproduce, and die. They are provided with special organs in order to accomplish the various life functions that are appropriate for their needs and their self-preservation. They include human beings, animals, and plants. Inorganic beings possess neither vitality nor their own ability to move. They are formed solely by the aggregation of matter. As examples, we have minerals, water, air, etc. Now, question 60. Does one and the same force unite the material elements in both organic and inorganic bodies? And then the Spirit answers, yes, the law of attraction, which is the same for all. Question 61. Is there any difference between the matter of organic and inorganic bodies? Spirit answers, it is always the same matter, but in organic bodies, it is animalized. Question 62. What is the cause of the animalization of matter? Answer. Its union with the vital principle. Question 63. Does this vital principle reside within some particular agent, or is it merely a property of organized matter? In other words, is it a cause or an effect? And the answer is, it is both. Life is an effect produced by the action of this agent upon matter. However, without matter, the agent is not life, just as matter cannot be alive without the agent. It gives life to all beings that absorb and assimilate it. Question 64. We have seen that spirit and matter are two elements comprising the universe. Does the vital principle form a third? The Spirit answers, it is certainly one of the elements required in the composition of the universe, but it has its origin in the modifications of the one universal matter. You may regard it as an element like oxygen or hydrogen, but even these are not truly primitive elements because they both derive from one and the same principle. And then he continues on the question. What would seem to imply that vitality does not result from a separate primitive agent, but rather from a specific property of the universal matter which has undergone certain modifications? Then the Spirit says that follows from what we have just stated. Question 65. Does the vital principle reside in any of the bodies known to us? The Spirit answers, its source is in the universal fluid. It is what you call the magnetic fluid or the animalized electric fluid, an intermediary, the link between spirit and matter. Question 66. Is the vital principle the same for all organic beings? Answer. Yes, but it is modified according to each species. It is this principle that enables all species to move and act. It also distinguishes them from inert matter because the movement of matter per se is not life. Matter is moved, It does not produce movement by itself. Question 67. Is vitality a permanent attribute of the vital agent, or does it only develop through the functioning of the organs? It develops only as the body develops. Haven't we already stated that without matter, this agent is not life per se? The union of the two is necessary to produce life. And then the question follows. Could we say that vitality is in a latent state whenever the vital agent is not united with the body? The spirit answers, yes, that's the case. And then Kardec makes a note under saying the organ as a whole comprises a sort of mechanism that is driven by the inner activity or principle residing within them. This vital principle is the motive force behind all organic bodies. It gives impulse to the organs whose action reciprocally maintains and develops the vital principle, somewhat as frictions develops heat. And then there's another topic, which is life and death. And then question 68. What causes the death of organic beings? And then the answer, their organs wear out. And then there comes another question under this one. Could we compare death to the cessation of movement in a machine that has broken down? And then the spirit answers, yes, if the machine has been badly assembled, it breaks down. Likewise, if the body becomes diseased, life leaves it, diseased. Question 69. Why does a lesion in the heart seem to cause death more often than one in any other organ? And then the spirit answers, the heart is a life-producing machine. Nevertheless, it is not the only organ in which a lesion causes death. It is only one of the body's essential parts. And then question 70. What happens to the matter and the vital principle of organic beings after death? And then the spirit answers, the inert matter decomposes and is used to form other beings. The vital principle returns to the vital mass. And then the author, Kardec, writes it down a note. After the death of the organic being, the elements that had formed its body undergo new combinations to form new beings. These new beings, in turn, draw the principle of life and activity from the universal source. They absorb and assimilate it and restore it again to that source as soon as they themselves cease to exist. The organs are impregnated, so to speak, with a vital fluid, and then he makes a note on vital fluid, writing this. The vital fluid, the ethereal fluid spread throughout the physical body, is like a telegraph that transmits sensation to the sensitive center, which is the spirit. The nerves are the conducting wires for this fluid, whose course, however, can be interrupted by an agent that isolates it from the brain. And then he continues. The vital fluid, also called the vital principle, is a modified form of the universal cosmic fluid. It is the basic element of life. Life here is considered in the meaning attributed by science, which is characterized by birth, growth, reproducing, and death. Now continuing from the part we stopped. So the organs are impregnated, so to speak, with the vital fluid, which enables all the body's components to actively communicate with one another when certain lesions occur and to restore functions that have temporarily ceased. However, when the elements essential for the functioning of the organs are destroyed or profoundly altered, the vital fluid cannot transmit this life-giving movement to them, and the organism dies. A body or a body's organs necessarily react upon one another to a lesser or greater extent. And this reciprocity of action results from their being in harmony as a whole. Their function cease when something destroys this harmony, just like what occurs in the movement of a mechanism when its essential components break down, or like a clock that has been worn out by use or broken by accident, and in which there is no longer any motive force to keep it running. We have an even better image of life and death in an electronic device. Such a device receives electricity and stores it in a latent state, as do all bodies in nature. However, the electricity phenomenon does not manifest until the electricity fluid is put in motion by a certain cause. Only then can we say that the device is alive, when the cause of the activity ceases. So does the phenomenon. The device returns to the state of inertia. Organic bodies may thus be compared to batteries or electronic devices in which the vital fluid's activity produces the phenomenon of life. The cessation of this activity causes death. The amount of vital fluid is not the same in all organic beings. It varies according to species, and it's not constant in the same individual or in the various individuals of the same species. There are those who are saturated, so to speak, with this fluid, while others possess barely enough of it. That is why for some life is more active, more energetic, and in a certain way more superabundant. The amount of vital fluid may become depleted and insufficient for maintaining life if it is not renewed by absorbing and assimilating substances that contain it. Finally, the vital fluid may be transmitted from one individual to another. Those who have greater quantities of it can give it to those who have less, and in certain cases they can bring back a life on the verge of being extinguished. Now, next topic, intelligence and instinct. Question 71. Is intelligence an attribute of the vital principle? Spirit answers, no. Plants are alive, but they do not think. They only have organic life. Intelligence and matter are independent of each other. A body may be alive yet lack intelligence, but intelligence can only be expressed through material organs. Only the union with spirits endows animalized matter with intelligence. And then he makes a note to see questions 540, 585, 593, and 606. Everything in nature is subject to the law of progress. Okay, continuing with the author's note under the answer of the spirit. Intelligence is a special faculty possessed by a certain classes of organic beings, which it endows with thought, the willpower to act, and the awareness of their own existence and individuality. Additionally, it endows them with the means to establish relations with the external world and to provide for their own needs. We may therefore distinguish the following. First, inanimate beings formed of matter alone without vitality or intelligence. These are the solid bodies of minerals. Second, animate, non-thinking beings formed of matter and endowed with vitality but not intelligence. Third, animated beings formed of matter, endowed with vitality, and possessed of an intelligent principle that gives them the ability to think. 72. Question. What is the source of intelligence? Spirit answers. We have already said the universal intelligence. Question that follows this answer. Could we say that every intelligent being draws and assimilates a portion of intelligence from the universal source in the same way that it draws and assimilates the principle of material life? Spirit answers, that is only an imprecise comparison, because intelligence is a faculty proper to each being and comprises its mental individuality. Besides, you already know that there are matters that humans are not allowed to comprehend. This is one of them for now. 73 question. Is instinct something other than intelligence? Spirit answers, not exactly. It is a type of intelligence. Instinct is not reasoning intelligence, through which all beings provide for their own needs. Question 74. Can we draw a line between instinct and intelligence? In other words, can we determine when one ends and the other one begins? Answer, no, for they frequently commingle. However, we can very well distinguish the actions belonging to instinct and those belonging to intelligence. 75. Is it correct to say that the instinctive faculties decrease as the intellectual faculties increase? Answer, no. Instinct is always present, but humans neglect it. Instinct can lead us to the good. It almost always guides us, sometimes more surely than our reason. It never errs. Question following this answer. Why isn't reason always an infallible guide? Spirit answers, it would be if it were not distorted by pride, selfishness, and faulty education. Instinct does not reason, whereas reason calls for choice and endows human with free will. And then the author makes a note under the answer of the Spirit. Instinct is a rudimentary intelligence. It differs from intelligence per se in that its manifestations are almost always spontaneous, while those of intelligence are the result of thought and deliberate action. Instinct manifests in various ways according to the different species and their needs. In beings with consciousness and the perception of external things, it aligns itself with intelligence, in other words, with will and freedom. Now guys, we finish this part of the book. We enter at part 2 at the book next time, and I hope you guys are liking it as much as I do. I see you next time. A big kiss. God bless you all. Bye bye.